Hey there. We're diving right into some big moves in the crypto space in South Korea today. Regulators are stepping in with new guidelines on crypto lending, and it's all about tightening the reins on leverage.
Absolutely. It's pretty exciting, especially with the backdrop of risky leverage lending practices we've been seeing in the market.
Yeah. So the Financial Services Commission and the Financial Supervisory Service have put together a joint task
Yeah.
force, and they're working on setting rules that will nail down things like leverage limits, who qualifies as a user, and clear risk disclosures for crypto lending activities.
That sounds crucial. Leveraged crypto products can be a bit like walking a tightrope in a storm, right?
Exactly. It's like trying to balance on a surfboard during a tsunami, you know? And when you have exchanges offering like super high leverage, BitHum letting users borrow up to 4 times their collateral, and Upbit offering loans for up to 80% of user assets. It really raises the stakes.
Kind of makes you wonder about the overall safety of these protocols. Is it really prudent to allow such high levels of borrowing?
Well, that's the thing. The regulators see a serious need to protect investors. They worry that these high leverage environments could lead to massive losses if market swings hit, and investors may not fully understand the risks they're taking on.
Right, yeah. I get that concern, but do you think this reaction might be a bit overzealous? I mean, aren't some investors capable of handling the risk if they're informed enough?
That's a fair point, but the guidelines aim to establish a baseline for transparency and responsibility. It's not about stifling innovation, it's more like um, providing clear guardrails. The task force is even looking into international regulatory practices and traditional stock market rules to see what might fit best.
Exactly. And it's interesting that they're including representatives from the Digital Asset Exchange Alliance, which, as we know, packs in the major crypto exchanges like Upbit, BitHum, Coinown, Corbit, and GoPax. That kind of industry involvement could really smooth the transition.
Yes, and that collaboration really shows that the crypto industry in South Korea is mature enough to handle some self regulation while being under the watchful eye of the government. It's, um, it's a balancing act between innovation and investor protection.
So essentially, we're moving towards a framework that is more predictable for the market. But I wonder, could this pushback on high leverage cool down some of the entrepreneurial zest in crypto borrowing?
That's a real possibility, and it's something to keep an eye on. On one hand, stricter rules might limit the potential for extreme profit through risky moves, but on the other, they could prevent catastrophic losses, a kind of safety net.
Yeah, true. It's almost like, when you put a guardrail on a steep cliff, you limit the thrill a little, but you keep you from falling off completely.
Exactly. It's like giving investors a secure ramp instead of a free fall. And it's not just about high leverage. The guidelines are set to cover risk disclosures and asset eligibility. That means making sure all the fine print is out there in the open.
Transparency is key, especially with something as volatile as crypto. It's reassuring for the everyday investor, right?
Absolutely. Transparency builds trust. And speaking of broader measures, there's also news that the Bank of Korea is ramping up its efforts by converting its digital currency R&D teams into a virtual asset team. This team is geared not just towards central bank digital currencies, but also discussions around stablecoins and other crypto assets.
True. That shows a real commitment from multiple parts of the financial ecosystem. But I do wonder, though, if these layers of regulation might slow down innovation, particularly in a space that moves as fast as crypto.
I can see that concern, but it's a trade-off. It's like driving at high speed without a seatbelt. You might get there faster, but the risk is huge. The regulations act as the seatbelt. They're a necessary limitation to ensure that the ride isn't so dangerous.
Right, makes sense. And the interplay between the traditional regulatory bodies and the crypto industry itself could serve as a model for other regions looking to balance risk and innovation. What's your take on that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a calculated move to not only regulate current practices, but also to lay the groundwork for future crypto legislation. The idea is to create an environment where innovative financial products can still thrive, but with clear enforceable standards that protect investors.
I like that vision. It's progressive yet cautious. But do you see any pitfalls in this approach?
Well, One challenge might be ensuring that the guidelines are flexible enough to adapt to rapid market changes. Crypto isn't static, its nature is constantly evolving. So, while setting these rules, regulators need to avoid locking the market into a rigid framework that might quickly become outdated.
Yeah, good point. And honestly, balancing that flexibility with investor protection is no small feat. It's like trying to edit a car while it's racing on the track.
Exactly, it's like doing high-speed surgery on the fly. And then there's also the question of international coherence. South Korea is looking at global models, which is smart because crypto is a global market. Getting that right could mean a lot for cross-border financial activities.
I agree. It would be interesting to see how those international rules mesh with South Korea's own regulatory traditions and how the markets adjust to this new oversight.
For sure. And you know, while these developments signal tightening oversight, they also reflect a maturing market where such measures are seen as necessary for sustainable growth.
Exactly. All in all, it's a fascinating example of how innovation and regulation can, ideally, work hand in hand. And I guess time will tell how effective these measures will be in practice, especially during those turbulent market times.
Yeah, it's a dynamic interplay, and I think we're witnessing a pivotal moment where the crypto industry is learning to balance ambition with accountability. It's an exciting, albeit bumpy, ride ahead.
Absolutely. It's like watching the Wild West of finance slowly turn into a well-structured town. Lots to watch for in the coming months.
Definitely, and as always, a little bit of nimble adaptability on both the part of the investors and the regulators may just be the key to making this complex ecosystem work successfully.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks for unpacking all of that. It's clear that these new guidelines could really shape the future of crypto lending in South Korea, and maybe even set trends globally.
Absolutely, it's an important development to keep an eye on, and I'm excited to see how it all unfolds.
Me too. Catch you next time as we break down more of these cutting edge shifts in the financial world.